Hey everybody, so tonight we're going to be ranking our favorite keywords. Now, the thing about this one is that it's a little bit difficult to rank this in a definitive way, in a way that shows like what are the best keywords. Because Fitz and I have been discussing this, and really, the best keywords is such a subjective thing. It really comes down to your individual play style.
Yeah, so you all might actually disagree with what we say are our favorites, but of course that's why we're going with the topic of our favorite keywords. This is going to, as Zach said, reflect our play styles, which you're probably going to notice that Zach and I play a little differently. We do have some similarities, but I'm interested to see how different we really are.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, you and I definitely have different styles. I think logically and I plan things out well, and you follow along.
I tend to go with my instincts and be a team player and make sure we succeed.
Yep.
That's what I focus on.
Someone has to
Something else.
be someone has to be there to take out the henchman.
Somebody has to be Hawkeye.
Someone that should be on a t-shirt. Somebody's got to be Hawkeye.
I would make that T-shirt. I think I should make that T-shirt.
No joke. You should. I would honestly probably buy one of those.
Quarantine project. Yes.
Just with Hawkeye like shrugging hands, somebody's got to be Hawkeye.
Somebody's got to do it.
So
Somebody's got to buy Hawkeye and the card and everything. It applies to so many things.
it does. It does. That's a life lesson I'll teach like my children, right? Don't be Hawkeye. They'll be like, "What are you talking
Ouch.
about?" I'll be like, "Ask Uncle Fitz when you're older."
But we don't talk to Uncle Fitz because he's weird.
All right. So what we'll do is we'll start with our number 10. We both have an honorable mention as well. But we'll start with our honorable mention, then we'll go from our number 10 all the way down to number 1, and then yeah. So we'll see which ones are our favorite keywords that we like to play with most. So you go ahead and start us off, Fitz.
Oh, why, thank you, good sir. All right, so my honorable mention, and full disclaimer here, the keywords I've chosen are you might notice that these keywords really benefit more of the player. There are a lot of keywords in there that kind of affect the villains and the mastermind and really just the overall arch of the game. My favorite keywords are really just things that actually are going to benefit me. Call me selfish. But my honorable mention, without wasting any ado, is going to be undercover from the Agents of Shield.
Oh, I love undercover. That's such a good keyword.
I do too, and I think the reason it's in my honorable mention is I think it's unique and I think it's beneficial and I think it brings to light that other objective of the game that so many people tend to forget, which is, hey, victory points, they're a thing. So you sending an agent or a shield officer or something undercover can be really helpful. It's just I can't put it in as my favorite because there are a lot of instances where I'm going to ignore undercover because I want to keep that card in my deck. So it's not a full 100% always going to do it every time keyword. It's just sort of there.
Yeah.
But it is neat. It's different. That's why it's my honorable mention.
Yeah, and see, I have more to say about this one, but this one's going to be in a different spot on my list.
Oh, okay. So you actually have it on your list.
Oh, I do. I do actually. Yeah, I like that keyword quite a bit. So my honorable mention is going to be from the Champions set, and it's cheering crowds.
I was wondering if that was going to be in your list at all. I'm shocked that you put it in as your honorable mention. I thought it
Yeah,
actually was on your list.
so if people don't remember, cheering crowds basically is that you have an ability that you use. Okay, and you use this ability once, and then if you want to use the keyword cheering crowds, you have to take a bystander from your victory pile and you put it back into the bystander stack, and then you can use that same ability one more time. It's really cool because it gives you the flexibility to get additional attack points or additional recruit points. Sometimes it can be versatile. You can get one or the other, or you can get both. So it's pretty cool. The reason it's an honorable mention is just because it depends on the game that you're playing, the setup, whether or not you're able to get enough fuel for that actual engine to start going.
Yeah, and to elaborate more on that, I think that's also kind of why I put undercover on there because you do need a little bit more fuel in your victory pile to get the best effects going as well. But
see, when I think of undercover, though, I think it's a little bit different, though, because you always start the game with at least 12 cards that you can use as fuel for undercover.
right, but you have to take the time to send those cards undercover, and So it's not an instantaneous. You're not sending all 12 of those cards undercover right away. Like
It's
you're going to
true.
need to do something that triggers it.
It's
But
true, but you are thinning, so that's one thing that I like about that. So, all right, so
yeah.
my number 10 is going to be one that I know that Fitz really likes, and I guarantee you it's going to be higher on his list. Is microscopic size changing.
Oh wow, yeah. You and I are going to really disagree on this one.
So the reason this one is a little bit lower for me is because I like the fact that it does manipulate the HQ in that it pushes you to make sure that you can recruit things more effectively, or you can get additional recruit points, or even additional attack points from a villain that's in the city. But it's just one of those that can sometimes be situational based on what specific cards you have out there. And so, like for example, if we're talking about if it's like microscopic size changing tech, and there's nothing tech out there, it's just tough for me to consider that one of my favorites because it's just like you can't even use it at that point.
I can see where you're coming from with that argument. I have
Thoroughly
more to
disagree,
say
but you
later
can see
on.
it.
We're already fighting, and we're only at number 10. That's
That's
fine.
okay.
It's
That's
fine.
okay. It'll get easier. The pain will be easier.
All right. Well, my number 10 is actually going to be it's a combination of two actually because you can't have one without the other. It's digestion and indigestion
Okay.
from the Venom set.
Okay. All right.
And the reason is I like the fact that I get a consolation prize when I don't have everything I need to have the best ability. Like I always have a fallback, which is nice. So just for a reminder, what digest is, the wording, you use this digest ability only if you have at least the number of cards or that many cards in your victory pile. So if a digest follows with the number 2, you have to have 2 cards in your victory pile in order to activate the effect. If you don't, indigestion takes effect, which is where you don't have enough cards in your victory pile to use the card's digest ability. You get its indigestion ability instead. I noticed the common trend, at least with Venom, it's basically like just the opposite of what the digestion and indigestion are, just the opposites of each other. Like if Venom needed attack points from digest, the
Yeah.
indigestion just gave him recruit points. So it's just like that flip flop kind of helps in the sense that you're always going to have options.
Yeah.
So
And see,
I put it as my number 10.
the reason I'm not as big of a fan of that keyword is I think that the Revelations set did it better with Hellcat. Because Hellcat is a this or that one as well, but instead of having the stipulation that you have to have a specific number of cards in your victory pile, Hellcat allows you to just choose one or the other each time, and so it gives you that flexibility that you would normally have with like versatile, but it just allows you to do it each turn however you want to versus digest versus indigestion. Make
Yeah,
sense?
it makes sense. But Hellcat is the only one that really gets the best benefit
Oh,
of that.
Oh, I agree, and that's the most recent. That's one of the more recent small boxes. You know what I mean? And so that was the one that came 2 boxes after the Venom set, and I think that that was a really good way to start doing it, and I hope that they continue to do that.
Right. So I could see where, you know what, yeah, if they give effects similar to the way that Hellcat is set up to other heroes, then I could see an argument being made where I would replace that with Digestion Indigestion as my number 10.
Mm-hmm.
It's I've got more options right now at the moment.
Yeah.
And I don't full disclosure, I don't use Hellcat a lot as one of my heroes.
I like Hellcat. I think she's really fun. But I also like hyperspeed and like all the keywords from the Revelation set, though. So.
Well, we just like we just like Revelations. Period.
Yeah, I know it's true. It's true. We do. You know what I noticed, and I never thought about this before because honestly, I haven't really had the base set without having an expansion with it. The base set doesn't have any keywords.
So I think it's because I
and it makes sense. Don't misunderstand me. I was just thinking about that. It's just interesting.
Well, yeah, because I mean the base set, it's just the rules of the base set are the key words, so they didn't need to necessarily call them out, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
The new keywords are new rules that are added, so they have to call them out. And I find the word keywords better to listen to than new rules because no one likes rules.
100%, 100%. It's just interesting to think about like how much more dynamic the game has become because of these new keywords that were added to the game. And so just playing a base set game now, it's like wow, it's like this could be fairly boring.
It's funny funny. I was actually when I was making my decisions for my list, gonna ask you: are we including anything from the base set, or are we just gonna not acknowledge
There's
that
not.
it
I was
was
gonna
the
say there's
base?
nothing there. There's nothing there. I was looking through the rule book, just like thinking about it, and I'm like, man, there aren't actually any keywords. It's just based on like the superpowers, where you have played like one of the strength heroes, so you gain this additional ability. But there aren't any keywords in there. So
I've just thought of a wonderful comparison here. Think of the base set as the foundations for a house, and the new keywords, all the lovely fixtures you want to add later on. If we
oh,
want to get
what a
all adulting
metaphor!
about it.
What a metaphor!
Oh yes,
Good analogy for it, right?
thank
So,
you.
all right. So my number 9 is going to be one that actually you have not had the chance to play with yet, but I really like it, and it's from the New Mutant set. It is Moonlight and Sunlight. It's two. It's two different keywords, but I'm putting them together because they do the same thing.
Pretty much the same way as like indigestion and digestion. It's just, but they have different effects. Moonlight and
Exactly.
sunlight.
Exactly. It's a this or that type thing as well, but it's based on what's in the HQ. Okay, so if it's an odd number of if the number of cards in the HQ, if their cost is like odd for each one, let's say there's 3 of them in the HQ, I'm not explaining this very well, that are, odd numbers, then what happens is that you have Moonlight, okay, and you gain the Moonlight ability on your card. If there are 3 of them that are even numbered in there, then you gain Sunlight. The cool thing about this mechanic is that it allows you to manipulate the HQ in a way to be able to use both abilities. So some of the cards, like for example, Wolfsbane's cards or Sunspot's cards, have the ability of Moonlight and then Sunlight, or Sunlight and then Moonlight. And so what happens is that you can use the Moonlight ability. Let's say you have 3 of them that cost odd numbers. You use the Moonlight ability to put one of those on the bottom. Then if an even number card flips up, you have Sunlight, so you can then use the Sunlight ability on the same card. So it's just like an order of operations that you can follow. It's really fun to follow along with that, and it's nice because the masterminds in that set also focus on that. So it's pretty cool.
See, that does sound fun. And I probably would have that in my list too if I actually had played it
Yep. Soon
before.
enough,
So
quarantine will end, and we will crawl out of our caves and come hang out.
I don't even know what you look like anymore.
Exactly. So.
All right. Well, my number 9, sir, is going to be teleport.
Yeah. Before you do that, I just had a flashback to SpongeBob in the scene where SpongeBob is basically sold to Plankton, and they're singing that song. It's just a grill. Do you remember that episode?
I vaguely remember it.
It's Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob singing to each other from the opposite restaurants, and they're like singing like this like
No.
1980s like ballad to each other.
Yeah, no, it's coming back to me now.
Yep. Oh,
God, SpongeBob was so long ago.
it was, but it was good for a little while.
It was.
Then it got weird.
All right, back on topic. Teleport. So for explanation, a teleport is, instead of playing the card, you may set it aside if it has the keyword teleport. If you do, add it to your new hand at the end of your turn as an extra card. So I think this is a great card or a great keyword because it gives you the option of making up for a really bad hand. We've all had those hands where like you get 5 shield officers or agents or troopers and you're just looking at your hand like, well, this is useless. But you have that one card that you can teleport because you know your next hand's going to be better because statistically speaking, most of your bad cards are being discarded next turn. Yep. So it's almost kind of like a second chance. The only reason I have it lower on this list is because you don't necessarily get an immediate benefit of it. It's I'll try again next hand, which a lot can change between then and after when it comes back around to you, especially if you're like playing a 4-person game.
Yep. The other nice thing about teleport is that it doesn't affect your ability to be able to heal wounds as well. So if you have multiple cards in your hand that you can teleport those cards away, then heal your wounds for your turn, and then the following turn you're just going to have one super bulked up hand.
That's also a good point. I'm glad you mentioned that. I almost overlooked it, and yeah, that's definitely an added benefit. Yeah. But again, it's not so much as like you aren't getting actions that you can do from this to like change the game. You're just kind of prolonging and hoping your next chance is better. So I said statistically speaking, your hand should be better, but again, that still comes down to how how lucky you might be.
Yeah, and the heroes that use that keyword too are also really cool. I really like Magic, and I also really like Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler was always one of my favorite X-Men.
Oh, Nightcrawler is the epitome of teleport. He is the teleport ability card. Period. And this is when the ability was introduced. Was Dark City
Yeah,
Nightcrawler.
yep.
The other card or hero that I enjoy that has teleport is Doctor Strange.
Doesn't Cable have teleport as well?
Cable does have teleport, but I also just have issues with Cable as a card or
What's
as a
wrong with
hero
Cable?
card. So
I like Cable.
we can have another episode specifically this topic.
He's like, I need to prepare my points.
I will have a 3-minute PowerPoint presentation.
That's not usually very effective in a podcast, but we'll continue. Uh, so my number 8 is going to be one from the Captain America set, because I love the Captain America set. It is so cool. You really did the Captain America set dirty with your ranking of it.
I disagree, but continue.
So it's going to be Man or Woman Out of Time.
Oh, you and I have the same number 8.
Do we really? That's awesome.
Yes, we do.
All right, so
As
the
soon
reason...
as soon as you said Captain America, I was thinking he's going to choose one of 2 keywords, and it better be the right one.
Yeah, you thought maybe Savior was the other one?
I thought you honestly were going to do Savior because I know you appreciate bystanders.
Yeah, I do like Savior as well. But Man Out of Time is definitely one of those keywords that I could really, really like. And any game that I play, honestly. And honestly, one of the big reasons I really like this is because thematically I love the Winter Soldier as a character as well.
Yes, from a thematic standpoint, Man Out of Time is fantastic. I just enjoy the fact that I can play a card that has Man Out of Time and potentially still have that card active in my next turn or my next hand, which it's basically like you're buying it's like you're buying 1 for 2, in my opinion. Like you're buying this card, you're going to get it twice in one turn and then another turn. So, and you can build off of that if you need, say, like an additional tech card that you wouldn't have gotten in your newly drawn hand. But oh, look, you have Man Out of Time, so you can chain off of that tech card.
Mm-hmm. And they do a nice job of balancing it as well to make it so it's not a super overpowered keyword, because you automatically have to play those cards immediately as soon as the turn starts, because you can't just keep stacking them up again. So that would make it really busted.
I 100% agree. Yep. Man Out of Time, number 8.
Yep, really good keyword.
All right, so what's your number 7?
My number 7? I want to hear yours first.
Ooh, okay. So this is another one of those. I combined it with 2.
Okay.
Because, well, one, the original came out in a very long, long time ago with the original Guardians of the Galaxy small box when it was introduced. Okay. It is artifacts.
Okay.
But I'm also lumping in throne artifacts in there as well, because you can't have, like, the throne artifacts themselves are artifacts, so I kind of see them as both the same thing.
Okay. All right. Now, is artifact a keyword or is it a game mechanic?
So I consider it a keyword because it is an actual, like, it's not a game mechanic that applies permanent throughout the game. It only takes effect for certain cards that have the word artifact on their hero card, like other keywords do, such as dominate or piercing or berserk, etc., etc.
Okay.
So, in my opinion, artifact counts as a keyword.
Okay, because when I look at it, every keyword that's been in the rule books, the rule pages, has mentioned, like, this keyword does, this keyword does, and when it talks about artifacts, it says, this set also contains powerful new artifact cards, as in, like, their mechanics, versus keywords. So I'm about to throw your list for a loop.
Maybe.
You're like, really? You have to do this to me? He's like, why you got to do me like that?
No, if we're going to have this out now, we can have this out now. I'm fine with that. It's just, it applies only specifically to certain cards that say the word artifact on them, kind of like those that say teleport or bribe. So
we'll leave it up to the comment section. Is artifact a keyword, or is it a game mechanic?
Are we gonna? How much are we gonna waste everybody's time here?
Thoroughly. Yeah, as much as necessary to prove me right.
But to elaborate more on the artifact aspect, I guess why I actually have this included in my list is because there are certain cards that come with the artifact, and you can basically, once you take that, you can't get it right away. Like, you actually have to try to shuffle it through, and eventually it comes back in
Yep.
to your hand, and then you can play it. And then when you play it, that first time you play that card is when you can chain off of it, but you
Yep.
can't chain off of it again after that. It's
Yep.
just sort of
To use
there,
your
and it doesn't really do
superpowers versus just, just using
exactly.
natural ability.
So it is a very balanced. It is a very balanced effect. But the effects that come with artifacts do happen once per turn. So I know Drax gives you an additional attack point, or Star-Lord gives you shards or copying other artifacts. So
are you kidding me? You didn't even mention the best one.
Star-Lord's
Star-Lord's uncommon card, the 6-cost one, lets you draw an additional card every single turn. That card is so busted.
That is actually a good point. I should have.
That card is so good.
I will give you that one. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And in terms of artifacts, though, I think my favorite part of artifacts is definitely the throne artifact aspect. Because just thematically, it is so cool to be able to have Mjolnir or have Stormbreaker and just, chuck them at the villains and then literally set them on the bottom of your deck. Because you have to be so strategic in your thinking about when am I going to use this in order to make sure I have the opportunity to use it again very soon.
Yeah, and that's pretty much word for word what I was going to kind of go off of with throne artifacts once they get included as well. If we go ahead and lump them with my artifact throne artifact combo for 7.
Yeah. If they're even keywords.
It's thematically, it's also super cool. Let's be real.
Yeah, exactly. We still need that Cap shield, man. Oh my gosh, we need Cap shield.
Oh, such a missed opportunity.
Oh, I know. Seriously.
Throne shield.
Yeah. Oh, it could be so cool. Anyways, all right, so my number 7 is actually from the X-Men set, and it is Soaring Flight.
Okay.
So I prefer Soaring Flight to Wall Crawl. The reason I prefer it to Wall Crawl is because Soaring Flight is a card that, while you may not be able to use it in the same turn that you recruit it, it still protects the card.
That would be the same reason I would choose Soaring Flight over Wall Crawl as well, because as anyone who knows, with Wall Crawl, it goes on top of your deck when you purchase it, which is funny. They introduced Wall Crawl in Paint the Town Red, and then also immediately introduced the ability that
Carnage,
negates Wall Crawl. Yeah, Carnage
exactly.
is Feast.
Yeah.
But Soaring Flight is a safe bet. You're going to get that card no matter what.
Yeah, and I mean I really like the character Polaris as well, and so using her with her Soaring Flight cards and using Banshee with his Soaring Flight cards, honestly, it's really good, and you can really build up some really good momentum very quickly with Soaring Flight.
My one issue with Soaring Flight, and it's the reason that it's not there along with Wall Crawl, is its ability is a one and done. Like when you buy a card that has Soaring Flight, you're not getting Soaring Flight again.
That's true, but most of the time with a Soaring Flight card, there's usually an additional keyword or there's an additional superpower portion to that card.
True, but I guess if we're coming at it from a standpoint of the keyword itself, Soaring Flight, you get it once. You move on with your life.
That's true. You get it once and you're done with it for the rest of the turn, the rest of the game for that single card. So that's very true. It's very true. All right, so my number 6 then is going to be Smash. I love Smash.
Smash is fun.
You have to admit, Smash is really fun.
I'm not full disclosure. I don't have any of the Planet Hulk words in here just because I don't own Planet Hulk.
Oh, come on! You don't have any of the World War Hulk ones, really?
The World War Hulk ones. No, I don't. I mean,
wow.
You know my opinion of Outwit, so obviously
that doesn't matter. There's so much good stuff in that set.
I'm not disagreeing with you. There are just things that I prefer from the other sets.
Man, all right. Well, Smash is really cool because what it does is it allows you to discard a card and gain additional attack points that are numbered on your card. Like, for example, the Transform card for Hulk. I don't remember what the exact name of that card is, but he allows you to discard one card, smash it, and then you get 4 additional attack points. So it's cool because it's something you can use every turn, and it's also something that you can use to get rid of cards that are not useful in your hand. You can also chain up those smashes to be able to get additional abilities. So, like for example, with Gladiator Hulk, if you've smashed 2 cards and you play his, I think it's a 4-cost card, it's an instinct card, you can then send that card and transform it, and then get an additional card that allows you to just smash things over and over again. So it's just thematically, it's really cool. It's really useful in increasing the amount of attack points you have, and using cards that are less useful during each turn. And you can smash wounds.
I mean, I get on board with the idea of Smash just because, I mean, it's fun.
Yeah.
When you play it, you actually do feel like the Hulk. So
Yeah. The best thing is pairing Gladiator Hulk or Bruce Banner with Angel.
ooh, yeah, that's actually a really good one.
So you're continuously smashing Angel, and he's like, "I'm back, I'm back."
You can't stop me.
Exactly. So what is your 6?
So my number 6 is Empowered. This comes from the Ant-Man set.
Okay.
And the reason I like Empowered so much is it basically, I think, it makes the HQ a new set of the playing field
Mm-hmm.
that can really benefit you and really, or any player. And it's just another aspect that you can control, and you can, if you have the right cards with Empowered, you can get a really, really powerful hand.
You are gonna
Having
love Sunlight and Moonlight. Seriously, you're gonna love it.
you know what? When you describe that to me, I agree. I like the idea, the concept of controlling, using the HQ to control how you play is, I think, always a good reward because you are then encouraged more to buy more heroes. And who doesn't want to buy more heroes? Just to kind of make space in the HQ for hopefully that color that gets you stronger.
Yeah.
And plus, Empowered pairs very well with multi-class heroes, and I love multi-class heroes. So
Yeah, I find Empower just okay. I've never had a really good successful run with it. I mean, Black Knight is just an okay hero to me. And honestly, Empower has just been one of those words that's just, it's one of my, I wouldn't say it's one of my least favorites, but it's not one that I'm excited to use.
So my you bring up Black Knight, and that's actually going to be my poster child for this argument for Empowered, is because Black Knight's uncommon, or Black Knight's common, which gives you Empowered pretty much whenever, is extremely cheap for an immediate benefit. It's a 3-cost hero, and you could eat a 3-cost hero where you could potentially have it lead up to 5 attack points. I
That's
think
true.
that's a really good deal.
Yeah, that's true. You have to make sure the HQ is set up properly, like you're saying. But I think that empowered is a better keyword for the villains versus the heroes, personally.
I'm, I'm not disagreeing that it's
You can
not good for
disagree.
villains,
It
but
doesn't really matter to me, honestly.
I think the villains are great to have empowered as well, but I think the heroes are just slightly better.
Yeah, and the reason I say that is because when I think of it, I think of when I hear empowered, I don't usually think of the heroes. I think of like Ultron and the fact that he's empowered by his what is it called, that
Threat analysis pile.
the threat analysis pile, exactly, or
And
the
I think
in the
you're
epic side when
still
he's triple empowered, and that to me is just really cool and really fun.
I think you're just scarred from our first
I might
Ant-Man
be, I
game.
might be exactly. I'm gonna go crawl into the fetal position, you know. All right, so what's your number 5?
I mean, are you gonna do your number 6?
I did my number 6.
Oh,
Smash.
oh, that's right. Oh, whoa, my mistake.
I smashed it.
You smashed it. Okay, so my number 5 is Bribe.
Bribe. Okay.
Yep.
That's basically what
I
I have to say about bribe. Okay.
I mean, I like the fact that it gives me an option of, if I'm buying, if I'm building a hero deck that spends a lot more time with recruiting that does attack, at least Bribe still gives me a way out. So it is very versatile, if you will.
I can. Oh, for some reason, suddenly I have a prediction of what's coming.
Oh, yes, you do. Set up, nice. But no, Bribe, I think, is very, very beneficial to the player when they're actually fighting against villains that have the keyword bribe on it, because you can
hmm
then just use recruit points and still manage to salvage a hand. It's very, very helpful in the early stages of a game where you have Dark City villains, because you have more recruit points than you do attack points.
Yeah.
Of course, as you go along, you have the potential of that benefit kind of reducing because you're getting more heroes that have just attack points, but it's still nice to just have that as an option.
Yeah, I think bribe's okay. My personal opinion, there are two keywords that are better than bribe that are similar enough to bribe, but I think they just do it more efficiently.
Okay.
But I don't want to name them because I think I'm going to spoil part of your list.
Well, is one of them number 5? Is that what you're? Because
No,
you're
it's not
number
my
5.
number 5, that's for sure.
Okay.
My number 5 is going to be undercover.
Okay, so here we get with my honorable mention.
So, and like I was saying in the beginning, the reason I like undercover so much is number one, it allows you to thin your deck. It allows you to dive into the shield officer stack with less fear of whether or not you're going to fill your deck with Maria Hills, because quite a few of the shield heroes as well, not the shield officers themselves, but the shield heroes have the ability to send cards undercover.
So you bring up a point though, where the shield officers. I think that's the part where I have a hard time getting behind it is the fact that you can send the shield officers undercover, and I don't. I would rather send something else undercover, but I might be forced in a situation where I have to send this really cool shield officer undercover that I just spent the time trying to get. So I think that's why it's just my honorable mention.
Okay, and that makes sense. But I just really like the shield levels and using my victory pile to be able to manipulate like what I'm actually able to use in the game. And so it's just really cool to be able to do that, in my opinion. And so it's nice with the shield levels and sending cards undercover. You just have an ability that you continuously use over and over again. But I suppose that's getting into a different word.
Right. And that's honest. That's why I thought you were going to have Savior on the board or on your list eventually too. But
yep.
I can see where with your play style, undercover is number 5.
Yep.
So would you like to lead with your number 4?
Sure. This one I know you're going to disagree with, but I like this keyword quite a bit because in the game, if you can start chaining this thing, you can get some crazy combos going on really quickly. It's from the Dimension set, Switcheroo.
I'm just going to be silent.
Radio silence. So switcheroo to me is one of those keywords that's really, really enjoyable to play with. It's not always the best keyword, but it's one of those that if you can really set it up properly, you can go from a 3-cost hero all the way up to a 7-cost hero in one turn without having to spend any recruit points. And you can use that 7-cost hero that same turn.
You really need to have the stars aligned for that to work out well.
Exactly. You have to plan, Fitz. Plan accordingly.
Oh, stop saying the word plans. You know as well as I do that you just get there through luck.
Yeah, basically. I just switcheroo my way to the top. And I like the heroes that use this as well, like Squirrel Girl and Jessica Jones and Miss America. I mean, I think they're all really good thematic heroes, and using switcheroo as an ability is pretty cool. And I like Jessica Jones using switcheroo as well because thematically it actually makes sense for her.
I agree with that. Yeah, switcheroo back and forth for Jessica Jones is perfect. I'm not saying switcheroo is a bad ability at all. It's just not of my favorites. Yeah. I actually do think it can be pretty fun and pretty enjoyable. It's just it messes with my playstyle. So
Yep. I like being able to manipulate that HQ just in a certain way to be able to make sure that I can get the exact card that I want out of there when I want it.
See, I guess I'm always afraid of running the risk of like not getting a hero that jives well with what I already have in my deck because I can't say what's going to be in the HQ when I use switcheroo.
Yeah, it's true. So what is your number 4 then?
Oh, you already called it. It's versatile.
Yep, I knew it was coming. It was coming.
I just like having that option where if like I can do attack instead of recruit or recruit instead of attack, it's great. Plus, I mean, we're getting into a different thing here where normally with cards that have versatile, they are given that attack symbol and that recruit symbol both, which allows them to chain well with other effects. Like they can basically be used for those effects that require the attack symbol on them, or they can be used for the effects that require the recruit symbol, or like if you're Kitty Pryde from the X-Men series or the X-Men set, you need both because you can get both recruit and attack points from that. So it's a good ability with the cards that have it also set up for better chain effects later on. Um,
I think
I
it's
think it's immediate reward.
Yeah, and I think it's an ability that has actually aged really well, even though it's so old in terms of like where it came from, because they did a very nice job with later heroes in different sets, like the Revelation set with Darkhawk, of being able to use not just versatile, but the fact that there is a recruit and an attack icon on those specific cards.
If I actually had to, I would say versatile is the best keyword from the Dark City set that has aged the best.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good for sure. I definitely agree with you. So my number three is going to be one that you can't stand either, because our play styles are just so different.
True.
My number three is Outwit.
I knew it was going to be up
I
there.
know.
I
I love
knew it.
Outwit. This keyword to me is all about being strategic in how you are constructing your deck. And you have to really be thinking about it the entire game. You know what I mean? And so like when you're using this keyword, you have to be thinking about the fact like I not only need specific cards, but I also need to make sure I have a diversity of numbers within my deck to make sure that I am able to use these abilities. So Outwit is a keyword that you have to have 3 different numbered cards, 3 different cost cards in your hand to be able to use that ability. And so you can either have them in your hand or cards that you've already played, but then you get that Outwit ability in which then you are able to actually use whatever it is it says. Like for example, with Bruce Banner, he has one that you outwit and you're able to draw an additional card to your hand the following turn. Or She-Hulk has the ability to allow you to draw one additional card. And so I just really like that keyword because you have to be strategic in what you're recruiting.
Another benefit that I think you kind of glossed over, but haven't really like zeroed in on with its effect, is the fact that it does take off some pressure where you don't have to worry so much about different cost cards. You almost kind of want to have a diversified deck
Oh,
a
you
little bit.
definitely do. No,
Like
almost about it.
you want a plan, but you want a plan to be diverse.
Yeah. Yep. You don't care if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 costs, whatever. You'll take whatever you get. So.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah, and what are your big issues with this keyword? Because I know you're not a fan of it.
So I guess I don't like that planning, that strategic planning of trying to have an idea of where your deck exactly needs to go. I think is easily destroyed depending on the scheme or the mastermind you play. I almost feel like it just needs it like I just need to have like if I could have like the 3 different cost cards in my hand ready to go for Outwit, but I just need something to happen that then forces me to discard 2 cards. Or um, you also have like someone like Thanos that just then banishes things away and just ruins it. Like my strategy is then just out the window.
Okay.
It's in my opinion easy to hamper depending on the mastermind or the scheme.
Okay.
And I think that's
So
the problem with it.
the fragility of the keyword is the big issue that you have with it.
Correct.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Not saying it doesn't have benefits. It
Yeah,
does.
no, I understand. I understand. You just don't know how to use it. I get it.
Okay, now you're just gonna kill yourself. Well, my number 3 is X Gene.
Oh, I do like X Gene.
I like X Gene because it makes the discard pile useful. And that, to me, is a huge benefit because if there are abilities or keywords in this game that then expand on what's on the entire game board, like using the HQ, you and I both love to do that, to like use the HQ to our benefit. Using the spaces in the city in a certain way, using the victory piles, awesome. Discard pile, I think, is just better because everyone's had that crushing realization that that card that they wanted to use is now in the discard pile. But X Gene at least gives you the benefit of, oh, well, I guess I can still get some use out of that.
Yep.
I will admit, and I think this might just be my problem with the cards themselves that have X Gene, and not so much as the ability. The cards that have X Gene, the effects that come with them are a little underwhelming. And I get that's probably an attempt to try to balance it because they don't want people to try to force things in a discard too much to get these insane rewards.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they might have tried balancing so much where they kind of restricted it.
Yeah.
Like, I've not seen a lot of X Gene abilities that give a lot of attack or a lot of recruit.
Yep. I do like with X Gene the fact that you can, manipulate your discard pile in a way that allows you to gain that ability, whether or not you had that card there in the first place. Like if you recruit a card first and then you use the card and get X Gene to be able to gain that additional ability, that's really nice. So
Yeah,
I think some of the better X Gene cards are in X-23 set.
yes, X-23 is probably the pinnacle X Gene user,
Yeah.
and I think they went with that thematically. They wanted
Yep.
to build off that story.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. So, my number 2 is out of the 3 keywords that relate to attack and recruit, I think it's probably the best one of them, in my opinion. Do you know which one this is?
I have some ideas,
Come on, Fitz.
but
Focus, and you'll be able to figure it out.
oh, it's focus.
Okay, there you go. I
You
think
know,
focus out of the 3 keywords that you listed, versatile, bribe, and is the best one, and it's my favorite one.
so the funny thing is, you have focus as your number 2. I also have focus as my number 2.
Really? Okay. All right. That makes perfect sense then.
I like focus because it's not a one and done type of deal. I
Yeah.
can use focus again and again, which Silver Surfer's common or uncommon gave me such high hopes for the rest of the Silver Surfer set, because like that cheap card gives you a focus of 2, which then lets you just draw another card and then you
Yeah.
can do it again and again.
Oh, that is
So
his
much fun
common.
to have
That
a
is his
point.
common.
But that then gets destroyed as the Silver Surfer set goes along, because the rest of the other stuff is just bad. But
I don't know. I don't mind Silver Surfer. I like Silver Surfer.
I think, ironically, his cheapest card is his best card. So
I do think that his cheapest card is probably his best card. I do like it quite a bit. There's nothing better though than throwing base set Thor in with the Fantastic Four and then just like focusing away that game. It just gets crazy. Or like Lady Thor as well.
oh yeah, that combo is
Just
broken.
oh my gosh, yeah, it'd be ridiculous. It'd be like playing Ant-Man and Iron Man and Star-Lord.
Also a broken combo.
Yeah.
Ooh, that could be an episode idea. Broken combos.
Yeah, exactly. Broken combos. Let's break the game.
So why do you like focus? Is
So
it
the same
I
reasons
do?
as you. I really like focus because it gives you the ability to adjust your turn accordingly based on your hand. If you have a hand that you believe is going to be more useful in terms of recruiting or specifically using those recruit points for other things, then you can focus away those abilities for Mr. Fantastic to be able to draw additional cards, or you can focus them away. Draw additional cards the following turn. Excuse me. Or you can use them to draw cards immediately if you're close with the attack points you already need. So, or like with Thing, you can just gain attack points like crazy. It just gives you some diversity and ability to just balance things out how you want it.
Honestly, it landed on as my number 2 because of 3 things. It provides an immediate benefit or an immediate effect, because most of the time focus is just at the cost of recruit, which you're always going to have it. The benefits are reoccurring. If you have enough recruit points, you can make them happen again and again. And finally, there's a cost to initiate these benefits, but chances are I'm going to get what I spent back. If it's the Silver Surfers where I can draw more, for 2 recruit, I'm probably going to draw a card that gives me 2 more recruit points back or 2 attack points.
Yeah, that's what's always nice about it, is that when you start using those cards, like you use that 2 cost one, you really can start just like chaining that thing up. So you get 2, and then you get an additional recruit point, and then maybe you can use it again, and then you get 2 more recruit, and just so on and so forth, and you can just continuously thin your deck that way to get to cards you actually want to be at.
I'm glad we're on the same page with this one.
Our number 1 is...
We're going to disagree with our number 1, but
oh,
I'm glad
yeah.
we're on the same page with number 2.
Certainly we're going to disagree on our number 1. What is your number 1?
Oh, no, you go first.
Oh, no, after you, sir.
My number 1 is your number 10.
Really? I figured it was going to be higher, but I didn't expect it to be that high.
Microscopic size changing, I think, is a broken but wonderful ability, just because of the fact that I can get recruit points or attack points back from how well I crafted my deck. It's like if I have the 5 tech cards needed to give me all of microscopic size changing, yes, pay me my money because I've invested in this.
Yeah.
And then it also gives me the ability to like make cards that are normally super expensive, super cheap.
Yeah.
It makes villains super strong, super weak. Microscopic size changing is my number one, just because I think the benefits outweigh the cost.
Yep. And I also know that you're just a sucker for the Ant-Man set.
The Ant-Man set is I'm honestly surprised I put it lower as well. I think it's probably because collectively as a set there are better sets out there,
Yeah.
but there are some really cool aspects out of the Ant-Man set, and microscopic size changing is the best thing out of that.
Yeah. I honestly, microscopic size changing was fun. It almost got pushed off my list for X-Gene, to be honest, for number 10, because X-Gene was really close for me, and I had a couple different keywords that were close to being number 10. Like, for example, worthy was one of those that I wanted to put there, just because I love that keyword. It's just fun. But it's fun to me. It's nice to be able to gain that additional those additional points back, and attack points and recruit points. It's just not something that like I'm that excited to play every time.
Fair.
So
Fair.
my number one comes from one of my favorite sets, and it's World War Hulk, and I think you know what it is. It's gonna be
honestly
Transform.
Yeah, there it is.
I love Transform because not only is it an awesome keyword, but it's an amazing mechanic in the game itself because you can really, for lack of better words, transform the way your deck plays really quickly. And so all of the cards that use Transform as well are all really interesting because they change up how you're actually playing your deck. Like, for example, Bruce Banner has a 4-cost card that gives you 2 recruit. Okay, if you can outwit with that card, which makes sense with that character, okay, you can then transform it into, I think it's like the Savage Hulk or something like that, and he's has a smash 4 card. And so you smash 1 card, you get 4 attack just from that. And so some of the other ones as well do the same thing. Like, for example, you have She-Hulk. She has, I think it's throwing trucks, I think is what it's called. I don't remember the name of it. But it allows you to smash twice for 2 additional points. So it's 2 base attack, and then you could smash 2 more times to get 4 more attack. So it's a 6-cost card, 6 attack card just right there. And so Transform is just a really cool card to me because you can not only change your deck, but it's also a good card that villains have. Okay, so like the masterminds themselves, because they have the ability to transform. So the Red King can transform, General Thunderbolt Ross transforms, I believe MODOK can transform as well, and these transformations really change up the way the game's played.
So I think the reason I don't have Transform on here is because you like Transform so much, I never get a chance to buy any cards with Transform on it.
You took all the good Transform cards. I've never used it.
I have never been able to enjoy the benefits of Transform because you always get them first.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. I do, honestly. I buy as many of the Transform cards as I can. The best one, I think, is the Gladiator Hulk one. It's a 4-cost one, and if you've smashed twice, you can transform into, I think it's like King Hulk or something like that, and you place it on top of your deck, but every time you smash after that, if it's in your hand, you can discard it and immediately add it back to your hand. And it also has base 3 attack.
That's so your playstyle.
So my playstyle, just abusing those things.
Mm-hmm. Look at this loophole that I've discovered.
Exactly. Oh, look at this. Smash, 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 smash. So yeah, those are our top 10 keywords. So we had some ideas what we're going to do in the future for these. So one of the ideas that we had, somebody recommended, was to do a podcast on which box set we recommend you purchase first. And so we figure we'll rank the box sets to help you guys decide which ones are the best box sets to purchase first. It's similar to our top boxes in our opinions, but it's going to be a little bit different in that it's going to be more based around which box set is most useful to you as a player and in which order. Another idea that we had is we're going to be talking about ranking the different teams instead of just like individual heroes. We're going to rank teams as well. So like, for example, the Avengers and the X-Men, X-Force in this game to decide which groups are going to be the most useful or our favorites or the best ones as well.
It's sad though because I think X Force isn't going to get a lot of attention because there's only three.
I know, but still, I mean, it's going to be cool to be able to see exactly, how this game has changed as well. And so, something else we talked about doing was individual heroes based on classes, like top five range heroes, top five instinct, all those different ones, so you guys can figure out which ones work best for you as well. So if you guys have any other recommendations for us, let us know in the comments below. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye, everybody.